South African technology startup Blackbeard is establishing itself as a global player. They're in the business of updating and revamping older technology models for corporates, both in South Africa and now in Ireland. The co-founders of Blackbeard, Zwiers and Bongani Sithole, join me now. A lot of people, I've interviewed hundreds of entrepreneurs. A lot of people look at you and they say, how can we do it? We don't know. A lot of people don't always remember that it's small beginnings, humble beginnings that start a business. What was yours before we start?
Yeah, I think starting out and looking at organically, seeing where the market is. I think South Africa and the technology space are a really exciting space to be in at the moment. There's a lot of innovation and people looking at and businesses looking at doing things differently in order to unlock opportunities. And from that, we kind of just started working with clients in a strategic partnership level, and just kind of grew and still continue growing in that space.
What was the first day like? Just tell me,
Yeah, look, I mean, it was actually pretty interesting. I think we've worked together for more than 10, 12 years with Wayne, and obviously a few partners that we're currently working with at the moment. So, I mean, that first day for us was really not weird. It was kind of like just a growth to what we've done previously. So, I mean, so far it's looking pretty well.
So you're making a business of updating technologies. How competitive is that market?
So I think at the moment, large corporations are looking at innovating in terms of how do they cut costs, how to become more efficient, and how do you get to market with products and new technologies as quickly as possible. And I think for us, it's really in terms of looking at how do we get a minimal viable product to market as quickly as we can, and then building features on top of that. I think where we look at the moment, there's a lot of ideas out there. Funny enough, there's a lot of capital investment as well, but not a lot of people or companies that can actually build and get those to market and help with the actual nuts and bolts of the development and technology which we focus on.
How much of a problem is like everybody's doing it these days? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot more people can do things on cell phones they never thought they could ever do. I mean, how much of that is a problem for you?
Well, I mean, definitely technology has grown quite a lot. I mean, if you look at the space that we're currently playing in, I mean, previously companies would obviously drive where technology should go, but now technology is actually driving businesses purely because of the power that a normal consumer has on the hand. So obviously, whenever you build something, you need to think about a consumer first and the powers that they have on the hand to be able to empower them to communicate with corporates. So our focus is basically using technology based on the power of a device at hand to be able to grow the corporates that we're currently working with. So
how difficult is it to keep up with the technology? It must be changing every day.
It's pretty difficult, and I mean, technology is changing every day, and I think that's why we've actually placed ourselves at the cutting edge of this, to be able to focus it into where technology is going, and hence the reason why we're looking at other markets, to be able to to always be ahead of the curve, to be able to bring all of these into our clients.
Wait, I mean, how do you do it? I mean, do you just keep logged in? And, oh, no, the technology's changed.
I don't think there's a formula as to how to do it. I think a lot of it's intuitive. I think it's changing, having a mindset of change all the time. I think when we started out, our positioning was looking at solving business problems with technology. Now we're building businesses with technology. So we're actually looking at starting new businesses where companies are looking at having an offspring of a brand, building a brand, taking that into the market as a separate brand, and then later bringing it back into a bigger corp, or letting it to sail its journey on as a separate brand. So yeah, it's a really exciting and interesting space.
Well, 10 years ago, I read a story saying that you've got to do everything on your phone. Do everything on your phone. I thought, well, maybe. But what do you think we're going to see, just briefly, in the next year in this market, you think? We're going to see what sort of innovations? I
think without sticking to too many buzzwords, I think a lot of artificial intelligence, looking at machines and learning of deep data. So, it's always that kind of conversation around how much data you have is really the amount of information you can make in decisions. So machines learning information and building on that information to make strategic or decisions, from the medical industry to fintech robo-advisor, which we also work on, and Blackbeard's built that in terms of a solution as well. So I think a lot of automation in that sense.
I mean, where would you say that the money is in this day and age to young entrepreneurs?
Data.
Data. Management.
Data is basically the driver to everything. I mean, as I was saying, that companies previously were using to use technology as part of their business. At the moment, technology is the business. So the amount of data that a company can be able to collect and make sense of it, that can drive where the business should go. So obviously data is actually where the currency is at the moment.
And in your business, your kind of business, the pitches, I mean, numbers of people, I mean, is it like very niche, very few of you, or is it?
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah, so
I
think it's one of the exciting things. Like some days we finish the day and we're sitting with insurance companies that are looking at innovating, and then we're with farmers that have driven 3 hours down from the north to come and see how do we automate and get his process done. And they also, these are established like businesses, operations. So you work from so many different industries to sectors at different times.
And the funny thing is, like, we actually never do pitches.
Mm.
Yeah,
they just come to you.
We don't pitch to businesses.
Yeah.
I mean, we work with like C-level execs. We speak to them about their business problems and understand exactly what they're doing, where the challenges are, and obviously craft a solution. So we don't necessarily focus on a specific technology. I think those days are gone of saying that you focus on IBM, Microsoft, etc. But it's obviously looking at the problem that the client is facing, obviously applying the correct technology to that. So we're actually at that cutting edge in terms of looking at overseas market and what can work actually for an African market. So that's our focus really. Well,